Hungward. That's exactly who they needed to take out to get this Baron. But because of all the supers pushing into their base, White Lightning has to recall. They can't keep forcing the Baron issue. And the map pressure for Vanquished paying off even though they had some missteps in the jungle.
White Lightning's middle inhibitor back in action now. That top one's still going to be down for a couple more minutes. But if White Lightning can get to the point where those inhibitors are up, they aren't giving them up for free, they're starting to win the fight. If they can manage to just get rid of this innate disadvantage they had from their rough early and mid game, they can come back and win the game at this point.
Look at the items Elise is about to have. I assume that's probably going to be Randuin's. Yes, she just completed the Warden's Mail. So Dig LP is about to be pretty darn tanky. Maokai, he's going to keep scaling up. That's a dead horse. We're going to quit beating that one. Bane's going to keep scaling up again. Janna's going to have more utility as she gets more of these supportive style items. However, once both teams start hitting that 70,000, 75,000 gold marker, that's when you get to the full builds, and all this early pressure by Vanquished will be erased. Yes, they've still got the map pressure, they've got the open inhibs, but one good fight could turn these tides in the favor of White Lightning if they're not careful.
Evelyn finds her way onto Janna, and the charm connects. Could this be the pick that Vanquished is looking for? Gnar finds the frenzy proc, but he's not big enough to go in and find that true initiation. Vanquished trying to find more off of this. The repel going to come out from the White Lightning jungler to get her away to safety, but Vanquished might be in a position to threaten this inhibitor once again. Janna still very, very low. She can't possibly make
it. Oh my gosh!
The flash ultimate from Gnar is going to go onto Elise, but it knocks her into nothing. Flashing and repelling to safety, but that is going to be an inhib for Vanquished. Can White Lightning respond? Maokai wants to. He's looking for the initiation, but he's not going to be able to get it.
Is the inhib going down?
Inhib's still alive. Ari going to be able to grab that last auto attack, but will it be worth it? The Twisted Advance onto her in the backdrop. The Zonia's Hourglass going to keep her alive for the time being. Evelyn finding the first kill of the fight onto Janna. Maokai trying to disengage with this one, but the boomerangs are flying. The body count's rising. It's going to end a 1-for-0 unless White Lightning wants to make it more.
The orbs are flying from both mid laners. Alcano's stepping out a little bit too far there to get the inhib, but it's worth it at the end of the day because he's able to pop Zhonya's to safety as Ice Empire engages upon him. And Vanquish comes up with a kill, and this could be the 5th dragon. White Lightning needs to contest this. Without it, their team fight will be so disadvantaged.
This is a huge deal. The fact that they're on the aspect now means that that's as big of a deal as Baron. It's that much more the White Lightning has to worry about, and now it's that much more that they have to contend with. The Death Sense connects onto Elise.
He gets grabbed!
The play that they're looking for, but they are going to just have to disengage this one for the time being. Ari was not quite there to make the follow-up happen.
Both teams just buying position right now after the fight. However, White Lightning still in constant response to the pressure from the minion waves in their base. They've got one inhibitor respawn topside, so that's a sigh of relief on the White Lightning squad. Vanquished, however, still has the potential to push down this mid or go to one of the open side lanes if they'd like to after the Baron. But we'll see how this fight turns out, and this could be the game-ending determinant here.
Vanquished commanding this aspect buff. They either need to force the Baron or they need to force the fight in the enemy base on top of it. They cannot just allow White Lightning to defend this buff out and wait it out, and it looks like they're not having that intention at all. Baron drops within heartbeats, and that is going to be a double buffed up squadron for Vanquished. They've got Aspect, they've got Baron, and they've got their chance to push into the base of White Lightning and potentially end it here and now.
They're going to have the super minions in the mid lane. They're going to have the Baron empowered minions in the top lane. They've got a massive wave building in the bottom on a slow push. That's going to crash into that turret in about a minute. So, with the Baron buff, with the Dragon buff, White Lightning has to concede another inhibitor. They're going to try to look for the fight. Vanquish needs to force the issue when these minions start crashing.
Strong Vanquished is right now. White Lightning being so careful, but Vanquished pushing up so far. They want to end this game right here. They're going to find a death sentence onto Elise, but again, she's able to get out of it thanks to that repel. Vanquished wants to continue the pressure, but they're not able to break into these two Nexus turrets quite yet, despite their buffed up situation.
About 30-45 seconds on the clock for the big wave bottom to start crashing. They will still have Baron, but Alcantos gets absolutely chunked.
Ari taken very low. He's going to have to be very careful in this fight. It's not a fight that they're able to start off because if he tries to dive in, he's going to be dropped down to almost nothing. It looks like Maokai finding the catch on towards Gnar. He's in the middle of everyone. He's melting very, very quickly. He will go down just like a snowflake. That's going to be the tree. The first casualty of the fight, Evelyn following him down. A 1-for-1 so far. As Vanquished, not able to find anything else off the back of it. They will bring down one of the enemy main tanks. As they want to find this turret, they will be able to grab it. Gnar goes very, very deep, but that might not be where he wants to go. It's going to be Vayne pouring those silver bolts into him. Very, very easy to get all 3 procs of that with the attack speed that she commands. And Vanquished is going to back out. They take the 1-for-1, they pick up the inhib, they pick up the Nexus turret, and they decide that that's enough for now.
Just rinse and repeat. They're going to keep doing this until they crack this super powerful defense White Lightning is set up for them. But at the cost of White Lightning, they're going to keep getting stronger. Every time you break them down, they get built up even more powerful. Vanquish needs to be very careful with this gold lead slowly approaching 70,000. They're going to be hitting their full builds quite very soon. Quite very soon. That's terrible English. Excuse me there.
Looks like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty here for Thresh. Hopefully we get that fixed ASAP. Because I want to see how this game ends. This is a 46-minute game. It's been so hard for Vanquish to manage to finish this out. White Lightning doing an immaculate job defending their base. Will they be able to do it? Will they be able to take this Vayne to that 1v5 carry level where everyone else can peel for her and she can ace the enemy off the back of an Orianna Shockwave? Or is Vanquished finally going to be able to put the final nails in this coffin?
Well, hopefully we find out soon, because I don't want any of this excitement to die down. There's so much riding on the line here. Yes, it's the first game of the week for these teams against each other in the brand new Season 4 of the Premier League, but this is going to set such a high bar, such a standard for all the competition in this tournament. These are the returning champions, White Lightning, finding themselves behind against Vanquish, who is rebranded now. They used to be Sky High. They were in 2nd place, so this is a huge morale boost for Vanquished if they're able to pull this off with their new squad. Enemy, Simrim, and Alcantos are returning from the previous team, but Cat the Cougar and Calvin pretty new to the squad, and they have showed up huge. These 2 guys put the early game on their back, and Vanquish has been riding the waves from that.
The one thing we're going to have to likely see Vanquished work on in the future is their ability to have that early advantage and then close it out. That's the one area that they've really struggled in this game. At one point, I mean, they did have that 9,000 gold lead back 15, 20 minutes ago, but they weren't able to close with it. That's something that a lot of teams, even at the highest level in the game, can struggle with sometimes. You find yourself ahead, you find yourself with a lot of gold, but the enemy has a wonderful turtle team, and a lot of teams have trouble breaking that defense, and it's something that can be very, very hard to do in some situations.
Yeah, and our Senpai's about to have another tank item finished, looking like Randuin's Omen. Elise has already got one of those. Orianna has her full build completed. Hobbs is going to be destroying the squishies. If he can get a Shockwave to catch enemy and Alcantos in it, I could easily see White Lightning turning these fights. However, they do need to be careful, though, because if Simrim or Alcantos, or if Cat the Cougar can get a flank, if Vanquish can make one of these picks in their favor, then that could be the end of the game. There's one turret standing between the Nexus. Vanquish is so close to victory they can almost taste it.
Orianna, actually the champion in this game with by far the highest amount of gold. And just looking originally at the KDAs, you would wonder, well, how? She's only 5, 3, and 7. But then you look at the farm values. Orianna at 475. The second closest person in this game is her own AD carry, 150 lower at 329. Orianna just farming up a storm in this game.
If you want to do the math on that, that's over 10 CS a minute. 46 minutes into the game, they've got 470. That is absurd. That is so good. Just the mechanical skill Hobbs brings to the White Lightning squad it pays off them.
If the game versus Vanquished doesn't play out the way they want it to today, he can always move out to the Midwest, buy himself a nice plot of land, pick up a tractor and a barn, and become a professional farmer, because with scores like that, there's nothing to say about it other than pro. Very well done on him, making sure that he's got all the money in the world that he needs to work with. Him being full build right now and not might be the difference between his team losing or winning this game.
And one thing to point out, Calvin had double Maokai's CS 10 minutes into the game, 20 minutes into the game. After that, it kind of fell off. They started funneling it into Alcantos, into enemy, to get those carries even farther ahead. And that's let iSenpai just kind of sneak back into here. He's only down 93 CS right now, as opposed to It was 50 at one point. It was 100 at another point.
We're definitely getting into that point that you talked about, though, the 70 to 75,000 gold range, where the teams just start being full build. So those early game advantages, they don't really mean anything anymore. I mean, if you have two different players, one's 99 and 0, the other's 0 and 99, but the game's been going on for 3 days and both of them have their full builds, the KDA doesn't matter. The early game doesn't matter. The fact remains, once we get this far into the game, it's all going to be about who plays it better. And it's something that Vanquished is going to have to be careful about, because every minute that this game goes on is another minute that they don't have as much advantage to work with.
And another thing to point out strategically is Vanquished has been playing the vision control exponentially better than White Lightning. They have always had the first wards down, they've kept the wards, they've swept out the vision, and they have rotated around the vision so effectively. Cat Cougar's had amazing flanks, such great ganks coming out of him as well. But with White Lightning turtling in their base, you can really only come at them from one direction. It takes down the power of Ari, it takes down the power of Evelyn, and you can't get those flanks over the wall from the Fog of War. And White Lightning knows that. They're just happy to set up camp. They pitch the tent, and they're playing defense.
They've been doing a wonderful job at it so far. And if we ever get back into this game, if Thresh can ever get his internet connection back where it needs to be, we'll find out the dramatic conclusion to the game. It's definitely been a nail-biter, one where you're wondering, can Vanquish manage to break the base? Can White Lightning manage to hold it? And White Lightning, that play at the Baron was really the one that rattles you if you're on this Vanquish team. The fact that they grab the Baron and then the fight afterwards becomes a 4-for-4 where they lose almost everybody. That's the point where you know that you're not actually completely in control of this game anymore. That's where you know that you are mortal, that White Lightning can strike back, and it's something that they're going to have to respect.
We'll see if the Bolt of Lightning can come out of the blue and strike down Vanquished, or will Vanquished be the Vanquishers and vanquish White Lightning?
That's a lot of vanquishing.
You can never have enough vanquishing. The conquest, just the journey, the effort. You must try to conquer, and you must succeed.
See, the journey makes this that much more epic. The fact that this is the rematch. This is WWE Super Slam League of Legends 2015. This is the rematch that people want to see from Season 3. This is the game, and now it's been reduced to an Instagram photo of Thresh, thanks to his internet issues that hopefully get resolved soon, because the tension is killing me, Thunder.
I could grab it in the air and snap it like a rubber band. It's so thick right now. Hey, do you know if Champ is there?
I'm sorry, who is Champ?
John Cena, because we're starting up in no seconds. Here's the game. We're back in it.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The dramatic conclusion of White Lightning versus Vanquished. Can Vanquished break this base, or will the Asgard defense of White Lightning prove successful?
This could turn out to an Alamo situation in which Vanquished come the victors here. We'll see how it ends up. Big wave starting in the bottom lane. It's creeping towards their base. Vanquished wants to get a little bit extra push on there. They've got supers in the mid. They've got supers in the top. They've got Thresh DCing yet again.
What a rough life as a support. You constantly get thrown under the bus. You never get the kills. You never get the credit. You never get the glory. And your thanks at the end is a DC.
You also get blamed for everything too, and unfortunately this one is on him. It's not just because he's a little scapegoat support. Although much respect to all you supporters out there. Got love.
Looks like he is reconnected now. Hopefully this game will be able to end before it's decided by the disconnect. What a tragic conclusion it would be if this game ultimately played out as a 4v5 in its final moments. It looks like Vanquished realizes that they're on a clock now with Thresh's internet, and they're looking to potentially push and end here, taking down this final inhibitor turret. The explosive shots are down.
Eye of the Storm is not enough to shield it.
Orianna, she gets away from it for the time being, but Gnar dropping already down to below half his HP. Can Vanquished find this inhibitor? They're trying to do what they can. The final hour has already been used. That's a huge spell to not have available for this Vayne. Gnar's Mega Form. They're looking to push up. They're looking to pressure this. It's Evelyn into the mid lane, looking to split push, making everything happen. She wants to make sure that there's pressure on the other parts of this base. so that if White Lightning defends, if they maintain this integrity of the inhibitor, as the Death Sentence finds its way onto Jonah, she drops very low to Monsoon, keeping her alive for the time being. Evelyn in the middle of everyone, going to be the first one to drop, but the inhibitor going to be target number 2 falling into this fight. It's going to be a 1 for 0, but losing your inhibitor is not a situation you want to be in if you're on White Lightning. The middle inhibitor respawning as the charm connects
around the world.
The Death Sentence follow-up, you can't repel that. She finally dies. A god like Gnar is the answer as they manage to take down the second inhibitor again. 3 inhibs down for White Lightning. Can Vanquish in this game?
They're going to need to do it quick. They've got the supers in the top wave. They just took 2 inhibitors. There is nothing that should be standing between them and victory, except the Nexus and how much HP it has, but White Lightning is putting up a beautiful fight. Calvin goes in on
She's got the
Christina.
ultimate on Devane. She's going to be able to cleanse that one away. The shockwave is down from Orianna as Tristana gets deleted. It's going to be Vanquished now on their heels, trying to run away. Gnar tries to get away, but they're looking to put him back into the museum. The prehistoric Yordle, he goes down. Double kill on Devane.
That must be a redwood tree, because seeing him fight a prehistoric guy like that must have been eons ago. That shockwave from Hobbs, that was glorious. Just caught 2 of them under the turret.
Orianna shockwaves have been what keeps White Lightning alive in this game. Yes, they've lost all their inhibitors. They've lost their remaining Nexus turret. They're now on their last life, but they're going down in style. They caught Tristana and Gnar out there. That's Gnar's first death of this game. White Lightning will not go down without a fight.
He flashed in to get Christina. Vane's just a tumble away to safety. Gets the flash away from the Death Sentence, and all of a sudden, Vanquish finds himself in a nasty spot. But the 5th dragon's on the table. It's up in 2 seconds. Is White Lightning gonna be able to contest this one, or they have to concede it yet again? They want their first dragon.
They're looking to move into position, but it's dropping very, very quickly to Evelyn, Thresh, and Ari. They will be able to get in there in time. Vayne off the wings, and it looks like Vanquished might have to give this one away. They've got to be careful. They do not want to give this one away, and the credit for that dragon is going to go over to the side of Vanquished, but it's going to be White Lightning looking to collapse from here. Can they get out? Will they be able to find the kill? Thresh running away now. He's dropping the box, but he will not survive. The tree grabs the lockdown onto him. Orianna doing what she can to defend this White Lightning base in the meantime, as the rest of White Lightning trying to find what they can find. Ari into Elise with the 1v1, trying to drop the charm, but it will not connect. The Spirit Orb comes out. Elise dropped very low, but it's going to be White Lightning just disengaging this one.
Man, and then Hobbs is just a turret defense over there. He's got a little mini game going on the base. It's, hey, stop all 3 of these waves from taking your Nexus. And he's like, alright, got this, boss.
What a defense by White Lightning. They did what they could to try to steal that dragon away there. Very good dragon control coming out from Vanquished, making sure that they not only secured the dragon for themselves, but White Lightning still don't have a single dragon to their names.
And that could come back to haunt them right now with supers in the bottom, supers in the mid. They've got 3 oh, they're basing top. I don't even know, I'm getting all hyped up for it, but we're going to keep going on. The minions are pushing into the base. They're going over there to clear them out. The inhibs are going to be respawning relatively soonly. I'd say in the next 30-40 seconds.
The aspect buff is fresh. Baron's going to be spawning in 20 seconds. If Vanquished can grab it again, they're once again going to be double buffed up, with the difference this time being they don't have that double Nexus turret scenario that they have to dive into. There's no turrets left on the side of White Lightning. If they can manage to push in with 5 Dragon plus Baron, it's going to be Vanquished's chance to win the game right here, right now. White Lightning, though, looking to stop it, moving up towards this Baron pit. Evelyn going to find the damage.
Oh no, he got caught.
The fails, pop the charm, does not connect. It's going to be Janna dropping very, very low, but Gnar cannot find the rage to get
fighting in a choke.
He's stunned up against the wall. He manages to get away for the time being. The Spirit Orb is in the middle of everyone. Explosive shot goes off, the boomerang kiting them back, and it's going to be White Lightning with these half HP bars.
Oh, and Hobbs
Ari finds the charm onto Orianna, but it's going to be negated by the cleanse as White Lightning forced to walk away, and Vanquished will take Baron.
They didn't get the fight they needed, even without Alphen being Mega Gnar. White Lightning could not push up into the Baron area without putting themselves out of position. They concede the 3rd Baron of the game over to Vanquished. They have to deal with the minions that are constantly just crashing down upon their base. They can't leave for too long, otherwise their home's in disarray.
White Lightning has been winning, or at least coming out okay in the majority of these fights recently. That's the first fight they've taken where they didn't lose anyone, but their health bars all got so low they weren't able to fight anymore. A very important fight for Vanquish to win as they acquire the Baron buff for free. They're in a wonderful position to push. And like we've said 100 times, they need to end this game.
You can't end it too hastily, otherwise, if one misstep, White Lightning could punish them. So they're taking it slowly. Yes, it wears on your nerves. You get really anxious. You want to pull that trigger. You want to go and you want to start the fight. But if you start off the fight on the wrong foot and you're imbalanced, you're out of position, you will be punished. You will be put down. Cat the Cougar, nice little sidestep on a Spiderling, still remains invisible.
Vanquished looking to take down this inhibitor. There's still 2 standing for White Lightning for the time being. They want to try to take those out, get those super minions flowing, and then pressure on towards this Nexus, at least finding some stun onto Evelynn, but it's not going to do anything. They're both so tanky. Tristana needs one more hit to bring that inhibitor down, but she's going to be forced away. For now, the inhibitor will finally drop, and it's going to be Vanquished now. Do they take the Nexus? Do they take a different inhibitor? We're going to have to see what they choose to do, but they need to make a decision. They look like they're going to rotate over towards this mid lane. They want to just clear these inhibitors out. They know that with the double super minion waves pouring in, it's going to be very hard to protect this Nexus.
Especially with Baron. A death at this point in the game could spell the end of it.
Twisted advance knocking Gnar backwards. He's trying to get away, but he's still in his tiny form. He can't possibly try to tank all this without that. Kuristina going to pick up the kill onto him. That's a 1 for 0 so far. Maokai pulls the trigger. He knows he can go in, and he finds the kill. White Lightning repels a double buffed Vanquished squad.
This is just astounding defensive play from White Lightning. To have the patience to just sit back and wait till your characters start hitting those massive late game power spikes. They keep getting pushed back to the Nexus, they keep getting knocked down, but just like Cool Hand Luke, they stand right back up again.
So hard for Vanquished to end this game. They've taken everything but the Nexus, but sadly in League of Legends, the Nexus is all that matters. As long as that's still standing, it's gonna be White Lightning holding strong.
Vanquished, you need to vanquish your fears of this game. You need to make a decisive call and stick with it. This kind of poking back and forwards, it's helping you out, but the longer you stall this, the more chances you have to lose it.
Orianna's farm just continues to get completely
out
of hand.
Teach me.
She's got 623 farm in a 55-minute game. She's over doubled Gnar's CS, who's been about 100 up on his lane opponent the entire game. Absolutely unreal levels of farming up for this mid laner.
Christina's got 425, which rarely ever gets seen in these games. But the fact that Hobbs has 623, that's just mind-blowing when it comes down to it.
Full builds are showing up across the board. Both carries on both sides have those full builds completed. Evelynn has her full build completed if you count the Ruby Sightstone as a finalized item. Elise working on it as well. Both the tanks also closing in. Gnar actually has his done by now. So we're getting to the point where that gold is no longer a factor. Dragon's going to be spawning, and White Lightning is not willing to give the third aspect away without a fight. They want to contest this one, but are they going to be able to do it? All 5 members of Vanquished are available to go for this. Elise wants to steal this away, but can she get in there and manage to do it? It's going to be blue team!
Oh, Hobbs steals the dragon, though!
Lose Elise for it. The flash over the wall keeps her alive. Vanquished looking to try to go in for this, but Gnar, the only one over the wall, he has no backup. He can't quite find it. White Lightning gets the stat bonus from Dragon number 1, and they stop the aspect.
That Hobbs, that guy, so good at this game. Speechless when it comes to his lane. There's 2 junglers with smite, and the mid laner gets it. That's absolutely wild. We got 1 inhib top lane down. Vanquished looking to make, led by Simrim. He wants it. He's getting aggressive. They're getting tired of playing this back and forwards game, but here comes Senpai.
Another initiation from Senpai. He's always finding his way into the middle of these fights. He's got the ultimate on. The explosive charge is down, but he's not even worried. If you ram your head into a tree, you're the one who's going to end up hurt. And it's Maokai who keeps his team alive for the time being. No kills happen, but these health bars for Vanquished are under half. They're not in a good position to be able to push this anymore, and White Lightning knows it. They're continuing to defend. They've still got Orianna's Shockwave, and with the way it's been hitting, that's something that Vanquished has to respect.
A team wipe at this point could spell the end of the game. That's going to be 70+ seconds on the timer. It's only going to take you about 35 to walk down to the enemy's base if you've got the Home Guard enchantment on your boots. Here comes the teleport though. Alphen, they're starting this off fast.
Vanquished wants to take these inhibitors down. They want to find a way to end this game. They have to break this White Lightning siege, but every time they pick someone, they don't have the damage. Tristana wearing this inhibitor down very quickly. Maokai looking for the initiation once again, but not going to be able to land it. The saplings are going to come out as White Lightning continues to hold.
This could be their last stand.
He's taking a lot of damage. Tristana now trying to put that damage there. Senpai out in the front once again. He's got the ultimate up, but he's not going to be able to find the twisted advance that he's looking for quite yet. Gnar out in the front. Evelyn wanting to try to find some hits onto this inhibitor. They need to just get Tristana within range to poke it a little bit. However,
but he gets caught
in the middle.
Four-man shockwave.
It's Hobbs. It's White Lightning showing up big. The Guardian Angel gets popped, but Tristana, the first one to die. White Lightning in pursuit. They back off, but they take a 1-for-0 and keep their bot lane inhibitor alive.
Wow. Such a close game and a misstep from enemy. He wanted the inhibitor too badly and did not respect the engage. Flash twisted advance from Senpai. They catch onto enemy. He gets taken out. The Guardian Angel gets popped, and right now Calvin and Alcantos just trying to do what they can to clear the waves. They've lost a little bit of map pressure from that as well.
White Lightning fulfilling their win condition, what I talked about earlier. If they can manage to defend long enough to get to the point where they're not giving these inhibitors up for free, if they're able to defend the inhibs, if they're able to no longer have that ridiculous global pressure from the super minions, they can win these fights, and it's going to be White Lightning, the ones initiating the Baron for the first time this game, and Vanquished is not in a position. Calvin, Alcantos, not here to stop this. Enemy is still dead. The death sentence over the wall will find its way onto Janna, but it's going to be a blue team Baron, White Lightning, in the driver's seat.
This is the first time they've been able to take the wheel, and right now it's looking pretty scary. Vanquished had control the entire game, and they've been slowly losing grip on it.
White Lightning has been playing defense for the past 30 minutes. And now, as we hit the 60-minute mark in this game, they are the ones who are able to take the offensive. It's Vanquished who have to defend and try to keep themselves alive and outlast the enemy buff.
One thing to note is the reliability of Senpai on Maokai versus Calvin on Gnar. Yes, Gnar has a better lane phase. He can wombo pretty strongly when he gets his ult in a nice position on their team. However, Senpai is guaranteed lockdown. He just clicks W on you and you're rooted down. In that time, that target could easily go down. Whereas Gnar, you have to have setup. It's pretty much obvious when Gnar goes in. It's just out in the open. He's got a big rage bar. He's going to jump in on you, and you know when it's coming. Yes, he can flash, but you're prepared for it. When it's a Maokai, all of a sudden, boom, he can be in on your face before you even realized it. It's just telegraphed. When it's Gnar, and Maokai's got that little element of surprise. That's what I'm trying to go for.
Vanquished has to be careful here. Calvin into the bot lane. He doesn't even have teleport available as White Lightning breaks the base. They're looking to take an inhibitor here. Maokai with that ultimate up. They're looking to potentially take the inhibitor right here. They're going to find the twisted advance onto Gnar, but that's not the target you want. He goes mini form. That's not the Gnar you want once the team fight breaks out. The death sense connects onto Elise, but that's not going to do anything, as has been proven time and again in this game. White Lightning now looking to just disengage. They don't care about the inhib. They want to make sure they don't overextend.
Yeah, like no team can afford death right now. If that happens, the other team essentially wins the game. Aside from a crazy god style, but here comes a teleport from my Senpai. They want to get this ball rolling.
Senpai's into the front line. The charm is going to connect from Ari. He's taking a little bit of damage, but that doesn't matter. He's a tank. That's his job. As White Lightning finds their first inhibitor of the game, 62 minutes in.
And it's probably going to be a second turret as well. The second tier turret on the bottom lane. However, if you look on the top side of the map, there's a massive wave. They can't afford to give up the inhibitor, but they've got Baron. If they can end it on this push here, or at least secure another inhibitor, it could be worth it.
White Lightning has to be wary of a tower dive. If they overextend, if they get aced, and there's still enough members of Vanquished alive, Vanquished just walks down a lane and takes the Nexus out. White Lightning wisely backing away from this one. They're going to clear out top side. Going to try to pick up Dragon beforehand. Again, this is such a huge objective. They can't give it up. So many Banshees Veils on the side of this Vanquished team, but it's going to be White Lightning and Dragon for the second time this game.
Fixed LP was not in a good position there, so that's down. That's going to be a pretty important one. But look at Calvin. He's channeling the teleport. He's going for the inhibitor.
Calvin wanting to backdoor that inhibitor. However, the recalls onto the side of White Lightning going to be able to scare him away, and that's just a wasted teleport. He manages to get 3 autos onto the inhib, but that's not something that's worth the trade. He's forced to back away. A bit of a potential miscommunication there, as Gnar is unable to pick up that objective, and White Lightning's base stays intact.
Wasting a key summoner as teleport this late in the game is so crucial to your team's strategy. They now, if you split push, White Lightning knows for a fact that they cannot get there for another 4 minutes without that spell. They closed off so many possibilities by wasting that there. And White Lightning's teleport's gonna be up sooner. They're gonna have the initiative when it comes to making that style play, and they're gonna be more comfortable splitting off in that window of time when they have tele and the other team does not.
This is normally the point in the game where I'd comment about how the top lane outer turret for Vanquished is still standing and White Lightning could pick up some free gold there if they wanted. White Lightning's team has a combined 100,000 gold. They don't even need any more money. The game has gone past that.
Unfortunately, iSenpai is not a build yet, but he's getting there. We know what Maokai's like late game. It's okay if he doesn't have that completed just yet. Vanquished looking to put on some aggressive moves in the mid lane right now, keeping off those supers. They've got 3 inhibs. They have their choice pick of whichever they'd like, except top lane is not in Vanquished's favor right now, so White Lightning has that going for them.
Vanquished, you can tell just the way they're positioning, the way they're playing these fights. They know they've lost control of this game. They're not playing so far forward. They're not constantly looking for picks. They're more aware of the Maokai engage and trying to avoid it because it's been what's won these past couple team fights for White Lightning.
On the other hand, looking at the Cougar, he is prowling in the jungle bushes. He wants to get that flank and sink his teeth into one of the key targets.
Vanquished moving up ever so slowly, ever so carefully. They want to grab an inhib, but in the past, it's been problematic. The Cocoon is going to connect onto Tristana. The Death Sense is there. Maokai in the middle of everyone. Shockwave on it too, but it's only the tank
That
this
ain't
time. It's gonna be
Falco.
Vanquished into the backdrop. Can they find the damage? Evelyn, Orianna being forced to flash away. The first one in the fight going to die is going to be Gnar. Ari down so very low as a double kill for Vayne. Manages to pop Alcantos, and Vanquished is forced to run away with nothing to show for it. Thresh now going to be caught out. The Tornado connect. He's trying to use the Death Sense to get away from the Wolves, but Wolves are no savior for you, sir. And that is going to be a 3-for-0. White Lightning in control, 70-second death timers. This might be the game.
I think what Vanquished had there was a failure to communicate. They missed all their CC, they balled up, and it looked like half of them wanted to fight. Calvin went in, had a glorious 4-man ulti onto the inhibitor with the Gnar, but his other teammates were running away. They couldn't get in there. Christina free hitting on the back line the entire fight. White Lightning might be able to turn it here. They're going for their first Nexus turret.
Of the game. They brought the first Nexus turret almost completely down. Tristana trying to find the damage that she can on towards Janna, but that's not the target that matters. Nexus turret number 1 needs one more hit, and it's going to go down. They will be able to acquire that one for themselves. Evelyn and Triss, the shot.
Oh, enemy gets hit by the shockwave.
Enemy tries to jump away. The rocket jump will be able to find his safety. Evelyn's GA gets popped, and Cat the Cougar going to be hunted down for his pelt. Vayne just going to shove him away. Nexus turret number 2 drops. Nexus is down to half. Nexus is down to a quarter. Nexus
That might be the game.
And White Lightning, after a 60-minute defense, takes the game.
They completely turned that game on its head. They were playing defense for 45 minutes of the game. They finally got to leave their base at 50 minutes. At that point, they take the Baron. They take control of the game. They get an inhibitor. They base. They re-push. And then they finally whittle down Vanquish until they finally can make it to the Nexus, where they found their victory.
GG, well played to both teams. What a comeback. White Lightning defending the base time and again. Vanquished just not able to close it out.
That was a clinic on how to play a defensive League of Legends. If you want to know how to come back from an early mid-game deficit, just watch White Lightning there. Just the tenacity, the patience they had. To be able to pull something of that extent off is quite magnificent at the end of the day.